Hi Mr. Brown, this is my medieval castle project and I'm going to show you all the parts of it. This is the aerial view. We are now approaching the castle from the left side. This is the barbican, right in front of the real castle gatehouse. Big wooden doors. And this is above. Out here is where a fierce battle is raging. As you can see, the enemy is now laying siege to the castle, and the defenders are trying to push them off. This is the less exciting half of the battle. I'll take you down and show you the parts one by one. These are the catapults. This catapult is called a mangonel. It used twisted rope to fire a projectile over the walls or at the wall. Over here is a battering ram. It's smashing through the castle tower. Because of the moat filled with water, they had to fill the moat up to get the battering ram close enough. And then they attacked the corner of the castle tower, which was the weakest point of the tower. It is a myth that crocodiles or alligators were kept in the moat, but I have them in just for fun. This is the other half of the battle. This knight is riding in on horseback. Up here, some of the knights have lit their catapults on fire in an attempt to stop them. Here's the siege tower, which was rolled up against the castle by filling up the moat again, like with the battering ram. They filled it with rocks, rubble, and brush and logs. Up here's a man falling in from the top. Siege towers were usually like 7 floors high and were covered with animal hides and pelts in an effort to make them fireproof. As you can see, the catapults aren't having much luck with that. Here are some portable shields that the soldiers put up to protect them from flying arrows. Here I have some battering ram animation. It's firing the rock up towards the castle. We are now standing in front of the gatehouse again. We are going to enter the castle. So down comes the drawbridge, and behind it you'll see the heavy iron portcullis. Right there. The portcullis slid down the wall in these grooves in the wall. Behind the iron portcullis would have been two heavy wooden doors barred closed with a beam, but I didn't have room for that. The gatehouse is also the weakest point of entry, or weakest point of defense in the castle walls. Now that we've passed through the outer curtain wall, we are now inside the outer courtyard. This is where the blacksmith shop is. He is outfitting the troops with weapons for battle. The blacksmith shop was the most important part of the castle. He built weapons for the troops, armor, and tools to make stuff with. Inside the blacksmith shop are his tools that he works with, his coal box, water to cool down the red hot iron, and this is where he's currently working on something. This is his anvil for pounding it into shape. And over here is his tables with all the stuff on it. Axes, swords, shields, big axes, more shields, and crossbows. This is the carpenter's shop, where the wooden parts were built. Beams. These two carpenters are building a crate and their workbench. They would have built furniture, flooring, repaired stuff, built wagons, maybe. Next is the garden. The garden was used to grow plants and food for the kitchen and food for the castle. It was also great for when there was a siege because they could use the food to eat. These servants are picking the food and vegetables. Corn plants. Now we'll go into the tower. Each tower had a spiral staircase built into it that wound downwards counterclockwise. This made it easier for defenders to fight. So here's my spiral staircase. The stairs were made that way so a right-handed invader, when he swung his sword would hit the beam and it would be in the way, while the defender wouldn't have that beam in his way, so it would be easier for him to fight. Now we'll go out to where the invaders are coming over the wall with their siege tower. These men are fighting them off. Up here's the battlements. They were composed of two distinct parts. The solid blocks were called merlons, and the open spaces between the merlons were called crenels. Crenels were 2 to 3 feet wide. The merlons had arrow slits in them, which were used to fire arrows through. Like right here, this man's firing a crossbow through one. These are the wooden hoardings that were built onto the castle in times of attack. They used them to fire arrows out. This one is firing arrows out rapidly. We are now going inside the hoarding. These men here are shooting arrows out with their crossbows. Inside the hoarding, they could see out onto the battlefield to shoot out at everything out there where they could see. Hoardings usually had a hole in the ground to drop things from, too. This would have been a hole. They would have thrown things down there. We're now on top of the gatehouse. These are the murder holes. This murder hole I have made so you can see a rock going through it. It goes down, right down. Other things that went in the murder holes were boiling water and flaming oil. Here are more archers, and we will now go into the other tower. We're going to go up all the way to the top. The towers were the highest structures along the curtain wall. They were equipped with a lookout on top, and quite often they also contained bedrooms for servants and occasionally a chapel. Here you can look out on the battle. Now we'll head back down. We're back at the first tower I took you into. This tower also has the garderobe in it, or toilet. It was just a hole into the built-in where you went to the bathroom. This room was ventilated by only a single slit. The waste either went directly into the moat or into a cesspit, like mine. Now we're going to go down this tunnel to the dungeon. The dungeon was where the prisoners were kept. And people were tortured to get information sometimes. This is inside the prison cell. Please watch the next installment of this video, part 2.